So I just wanted to come talk about how uh, right now I was just thinking about this what's going on this season. So this season we have there's just a bunch of stuff going on and especially in Premier League about VAR going on. And came across this article that was talking about how many decisions went for each like Premier League team's way. And right now they're saying like and because the main issue that people have, especially like all across social media, is like VAR going for Liverpool. Well, and this website was like, well, there's only 4 instances of it. I was like, four? Started thinking, I was like, how is there only four for Liverpool? I was like, there was like so many in just the City game that they had against them. They had, and it said prior to the game, this is TalkSport, by the way, so tell you what you want, but people listen to it. They're still running, but I don't know how they get away with this kind of crap. And like, this is their version of journalism. Like, someone gets paid to write this stuff. He goes, prior to their game with Wolves, the Reds have actually only seen 2 decisions go directly in their favor, disallowed goals for Chelsea and Crystal Palace. So, Mane's allowed goal on Sunday and Neto's canceled effort takes their tally to 4. So he was saying this person was saying they had two in the Wolves game, and before that they only had 2 before, which is absurd because they had, like, just in the City game, they had like 3. And it was just like, I remember, so last season, there was the issue with VAR, like the issue with Liverpool was they're like, oh, VAR is coming in next year. When it comes in next year, like Liverpool is going to be absolutely kicked out. They're going to like not win anything because they had so many offside goals that weren't counted or whatever. And now they get the offside stuff and it doesn't even show sometimes. I remember for the Man City game, they had a handball by Trent Alexander, arm fully extended. I mean, not to blame him, that's tough to do. And they were definitely trying to exploit. They're definitely trying to exploit his weaknesses, which is good, tactics by Pep. But I'm gonna hold this close to my mouth so that way it can be heard. But they were trying to exploit Alexander Arnold for not being that fast. But he is one of the best ball playing right backs out in the world right now. But his arm extender for 1, and from that it went directly to a Fabinho goal. VAR should have called that back. That is VAR's job to call something back like that. The ref didn't see his arm fully extended. I get how the ref didn't see it, like the ref on the field didn't see it, because just the angle he was at, it would have been coming like at a shoulder side right here. It's hard to see. And then another time where you see later on in the game, Alexander Arnold had his hands by his side, and the handball hit his hands. And you would think, oh, that's natural positioning. Yet there's other instances in the Premier League where that's natural positioning, yet they still take it out. They still like call it penalty, which makes no sense. So that one could have gone either way, but ultimately I want to see more of those kind of calls not called. Like I don't want to see it by your side and you get it called against you. But like recently they had a game against Leicester where Soyuncu had it like by his side and he was pulling it back. Trying to pull it behind his back, and it still hit him. And you're just like, and they still called it. They reviewed it and still called it. And you're just like, why would you call that? It's behind his body. And things like that change the game completely. Like now you have to change tactics completely. And so they had Alexander Arnold twice in that game. And then with I agree, they should not have called this off, but based off the rules, they would have called this off because now they're doing like foot off. And like, if you look at the like Salah's goal, he was offsides by like a leg. And when they re-showed it, I remember they showing the replay, and I was texting with my friends, and we were just looking. They're like, "Oh, they showed the replay. It was good." One of them goes, Liverpool fan goes, "Yeah, they should show the replay. It's all good. It's like it's totally onside and everything." And then I look at it, the replay, and I was like, "That is a slanted line. They literally slanted the line. Clearly, it wasn't even perpendicular to the pitch pattern, and they slanted the line just for Liverpool." And like just for that goal, and it makes you think. You just assume like there has to be something going on there. You can't just accidentally slant a line when they had this like technology to get a toe off. Like the recent game, they had a toe being offsides and counted that offsides. and it just makes you ridiculous. I don't know who on TalkSport made this horrible list. They have Tottenham as number 2 for VAR decisions. Oh, totally understand that. But they had them tied with other people too. Yeah. I mean, so this isn't even counting if VAR is right or wrong. They're just saying how many times VAR has come into play. Tottenham, though, I remember, I think that's when it got real bad, was when I think they were playing Southampton, and they had a goal get called off. They got a goal called off, even though it was just, like a toe offsides. And that was when stuff started going downhill, and it should have never. That's when people knew, oh, this is going to be really bad. But yeah, hopefully I get to stop complaining about VAR. Hopefully they fix it. It's supposed to be a thing. It looks like they're taking care of it in some certain leagues, but sometimes you like, I don't know. I hope they take care of it because it seems really simple to implement. It's basically in every other sport they have an instant replay, and everyone's pretty like, the rules around it are pretty like common sense wise. But now people are gonna need to like, I guess they're gonna need to have. I heard they were having issues with trying to figure out, what are the exact rules on the implementation of VAR. But hopefully they figure that out soon. I was looking at this this documentary on Ozil last night, to change subjects, where they were talking about how much Ozil's been through, how he's a controversial player, and I was like thinking about like that is some of it, you can see is not his fault, but some of it was like some of it was absolutely his fault, and he's just not even performing well. So he went to Arsenal, was supposed to like change the club, and they really hoped to like they're paying him a boatload of money, and I heard there was issues of him not even being like fit, like illness wise, and also just like physically fit, and he's getting paid so much money not playing in these games, not doing too much. I thought he was doing pretty decently when Sanchez was there. I remember when him and Sanchez was there, I would watch some games and it would just be him and Sanchez back to each other, and like you could easily call it out. You could easily be like, oh, Sanchez and Ozil are just going to pass it to each other. You just got to guard those people. But now Sanchez is gone. You never see him come in right now. I saw something that's now January. You saw like this was the first time this whole season Arsenal fans had to wait to get to start Aubameyang, Lacazette, Ozil, and Pepe. Just it took them over half a season to finally get that figured out, and it took him a new manager for some reason, even though that should have been the plan from the beginning. But he's also starting his own controversies, and he's not, you wonder what's going on there. You don't know what's actually going on in his personal life. But I just thought it was funny how, they brought up how when he was at Real Madrid, they were like painting Mourinho as like, and I don't know if necessarily they're painting Mourinho as this guy, or if they were just stating the facts. So they're like, Mourinho was kind of coming after him and saying, like, yelling at him, like cursing at him, saying, go back. What are you doing? It was because he doesn't like track back. He just doesn't track back. And when you look at that stuff, you see like he's been good his whole life. His whole life, he was always this like prodigy guy, that. And now when stuff gets, it looks like when stuff gets hard, he's now struggling to like come out of that. He's just like stuck in his own little bubble, like not really going out of his way to try and do better, not try to prove people wrong. And that's what Mourinho was calling him out on too when he was playing for Real Madrid. He's like, you don't want to prove people wrong. You just want to go get all sad. He said, shampoo your hair or something. Yeah. And then later on when they were talking about how he dropped out of the German national team for all the crap people were giving him for, hanging around like taking pictures with a dictator. And it's like, dude, what'd you expect? Of course people are going to be mad. Your agent should have called you out on that. And like, hold on, let's just see what this dude, because this guy he took a picture with, like locks up political prisoners. Let's see, Erdogan. Yeah, let's just see if he has killings. Let's type in Erdogan killings. Because I know he's locked up like his own, like he's locked up people that are like running against him, and he's like changed rules around to like make it so he can like be president longer or the leader longer. Erdogan has been heavily criticized for failing to protect women's human rights, curbing freedom of speech, and attempting to curb Turkey's secular identity. lifted restrictions on public expression of religion, including ending the ban on women wearing headscarves. He's also called social media the worst menace to society, which I get it. It kind of is in like certain ways, but definitely not the way he's talking about. Whenever these people talk about something like social media being the worst thing to society, they really mean like I don't want people saying what I don't agree with without me stopping them. That's what it is. So he takes like these pictures of them. Also, something no one called out was Ilkay Gundogan. I didn't even know until this documentary. Ilkay Gundogan also took these pictures. Like, why did no one call him out as well for taking these pictures with this dictator? So I do see like the double standard, and that thing I was watching, that little call it documentary, it's like a mini series, like a little series thing. They were saying it's because Gundogan responded immediately, but they didn't say what he said. I didn't bother looking it up. I don't know. It just seems like if you take a picture with a dictator, that's the end of the story, and especially during election time when elections are coming up, and this guy is I forgot what he was arresting people for. Let me look this up. Erdogan arresting political opponents. This is why social media is the worst thing ever. I wonder if he counts Google as social media being one of the worst things ever. Yeah, journalists and political rivals. What? Freedom of speech, which Ozil wouldn't have if he actually lived in this country, And then he goes on and says over 2,200 arrests. God damn. And he goes on and invites him to his wedding as his best man. And he wonders, why are people upset at me? It's like, dude, you're getting paid like what? Like 300,000 a week and you're not playing and you're hanging out with dictators and you're just like, screw everyone else. No, this is what I do. And when you play, you don't play any defense. And when people say, oh, Ozil's back, Ozil's not actually back. He just played an average game and he's still getting overpaid to do that. It makes absolutely no sense. I think what they need to do is honestly get rid of Ozil. He's like 31. He's been there for way too long. Nothing's changing. Been there for way too long. And I think they need to get someone from Ajax, honestly. I think Arsenal, to fix what's going on there, they need to get someone from Ajax, like in that same position. I think Van de Beek and Hakim Ziyech are great possibilities for that. I don't see why not to get those two, or one of them, both of them, just one of them, to help your team out. And then they also need to work on their defense coming up too. But yeah, I'm not an Arsenal fan. This is just an unbiased speak. Again, I have no team at all, but I just love the sport. But I want to see Arsenal do well again. Because I'm an American, I want to see Christian Pulisic do well for Chelsea. But I don't know. You just hate to see something like. Right now, I hate to see Arsenal and Man United where they're at, And I think they need. I was crazy because the Ajax coach was talking about how he's like, Ziyech is one of the best midfielders in the world, and no one's trying to get him. And I was like, I thought that was ridiculous. He's like, I haven't got any offers for Ziyech, and he's one of the best passers right now in the world, and no one's trying to get him. Makes no sense to me. I performed so well in the Champions League. If I was like United or Arsenal, I'd be looking over there, honestly. The fact that like some teams that are doing bad this season haven't even looked at him. They said no one's even looked at him. Is crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. I think those two, like, the thing is, these guys are Dutch, and they have this thing where they're trying to make Dutch football like great again, kind of thing going on. And I get that. I totally get that. But I would love to see them in a higher league. I don't think the Dutch league's ever going to get back to where it is unless it gets a buttload of money coming in. Right now, that's where everything is at. I talked about this in the previous one. Even though it was like bad quality, I didn't really have I had the mic thing blocked out. So probably not a fun thing to watch, so I'll say it again. The Premier League is the most competitive it has ever been right now. Every team that is out there, you could argue Watford. Other than that, every team that is up in the Premier League deserves it. Now, some might say, oh, well, technically everyone deserves it because they got relegated or taken out. No. Every team up there should like stay up there right now. That's how good they are. Norwich, beginning of the season, looking at them, you'd think they would be a top 6 team throughout the whole season. You thought no matter what, they're going to be a top 6 team. Now, they're the last team about to get relegated. And they played the most beautiful football you've ever seen. They're so attacking. I think that's their issue. I think that's their issue right now. They're so attacking that, and it's such beautiful football, but it has its flaws. That's why, people say, I think there's something to that because people say Mourinho he's for Tottenham right now, and he's not doing this too well. But before Tottenham, he was the guy that he wouldn't give up goals, but he did have the most boring style of coaching for football, which, is what it is. But he got results. Right now for Tottenham, you see, he's scoring. He's like getting people out of their shells, like scoring more. Dele's coming back. Dele's like back to maybe even better. I don't know. It's too early to say. I don't even want to say it. It's too early, but he's coming back, and he's performing well. But they're giving up so many goals. It's unbelievable, and that's like the craziest thing to I think a lot of us viewers right now is that Mourinho is known for his defense. We've only really paid attention to Pochettino at Tottenham, how well he's doing at Tottenham, and you'd see the results with Tottenham, like 3-0 to Hove Albion, and you're just like, oh my god, how? And then you look at some guy who's as experienced and as decorated as Jose Mourinho come in, and he's struggling too with them, and you're like, oh wow, like Mauricio was a legend. Honestly, not a legend, but he's just really good at what he does. I was being hyperbolic right there, but he's just incredible at what he does right now. And I can't wait to see what team he goes to next. What team he goes to next is going to be out of this world. I really hope it's somewhere like Barcelona or like a top 5 team in the world. I really hope to see that coming out. But yeah, Mourinho's doing great. I forgot how I got on that subject of Mourinho. Mourinho's not doing great. He's struggling right now. I don't know. I forgot how I got on that subject at all. Let me think about that. Oh yeah. So how this is a competitive league. Yeah. And you see West Ham was in the relegation zone as well. West Ham had spent a buttload of money on Sebastian Haller and he was doing great when he came up, but now they're not in the relegation zone anymore. They just got out. But they also have Felipe Anderson, who is one of the best players in the Premier League. The most underrated player in the Premier League, no one talks about. This is absurd to me. No one talks about him. He needs to be at like a way bigger club, I think. He deserves to be at a top 5 club as well. When you see him play, here's my only complaint with Felipe Anderson. When he's in front of goal. That's my only complaint with Felipe Anderson, but I think that's something I can fix. But when he's on the ball and he's on the field, it is one of the smoothest, fastest, most beautiful things you can see as a fan of football. It is the most beautiful thing you see. He's just so smooth with it. He's so confident. And you know where he's gonna he's gonna do well when he has the ball. It's going forward. And I haven't seen any of their games recently. I need to catch myself up on those. But when I was watching him a lot, like the first half of the season, like he would have a lot of these like pass to an assist to a setup that was missed, and you're just like, how did they miss that? And like I have him for like fantasy because I was like, oh, he's going to show out this season. Absolutely, he's not getting many points because he's doing these pass to assists, but it's also like whenever he sets people up, they miss too. They would miss, and it's just like I think he deserves to be at a better team. But West Ham does need, like, for the talent they have also have Declan Rice coming out of there. They have they deserve to be like a lot higher than they are. I almost said Tyrone Mings was there too, but no, he's definitely Aston Villa. I was thinking of the wrong colors right there. Tyrone Mings, I think, is one of the most underrated center halves in the Premier League. I forgot who they were playing. He was out one game, and their defense was just obliterated. And I was like, I knew it. I knew he was so good. Like, this is like, I don't understand how no one talks about him. He's just such a solid keeper. Such a solid defender. I think Arsenal should try to get him. Honestly, if West Ham will no, if Aston Villa will even let him go, like Arsenal should try to like get him to sign for their club because I think he's solid. Honestly, he had everyone has a mess up. People might just show his mess up like, oh, is this good? Show a little mess up. It's just no. Everyone has one of those. I can show you like compilation of the Delict getting nutmegged or messing up. And he is 20, but like he's still very good. He's still like world class caliber. You know. So yeah, I think I'm gonna start doing these. What I want to start doing is having a set time for doing these. Like I think the day before the games come up, and just talk about what I think is going to happen for the upcoming games. Who do I think to look out for? What's going on out there? And you guys can tell me back as well who you think is going to be, who's going to, all one of you out there, see who you think is going to be good, who's not going to be good. And then think the day after the last game, just talk about what I was right about, what I was wrong about, what surprised us, what didn't surprise us, and go from there. Also, might have some in the middle of like transfers, what's going on, like something else, any takes I have that is just bugging on my mind that I feel like needs to be talked about that no one's talking about. Dumb commentators like Alexi Lalas, I hate him. Already call him out. My first one, I think he's an idiot. I play for the United States. I mean, normally I feel like that would help, but that dude is so fucking stupid. You could tell me anything. He could have played for Barcelona. I wouldn't care about his dumbass opinion. But but yeah. So I think that's how it's gonna be structured out. So be on the lookout for that, and I'll catch you later.